Hello and welcome to Rough Cut Film Review. This is the review of Wreck-It Ralph. This is the new Disney big budget CGI film featuring the voice acting talents of John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman. So it's been written and directed by Rich Moore, though other people have helped him write it to whatever degree. So Rich Moore, his background is from writing classic episodes of The Simpsons, so if we think back to episodes like Cape Fear, and classic episodes of Futurama and things like Ben-Hur, a really fantastic and clever writer. And I'm very excited about this Wreck-It Ralph. So, the eponymous Ralph, it has been a baddie in an old video game, and he's just having his 30-year anniversary of being an arcade machine baddie. The game he's in is sort of a mixture of King Kong and Rampage, if you know your games. Now, after all these years, Ralph is sick of being the baddie. He wants to be the hero. He wants the adulation. He wants to win. He wants medals. He wants respect. He wants everyone to like him, and he doesn't want to live in a dump. So, he goes to a self-help group for video game baddies who have sort of lost their way a little bit. And like much of the film, it's brilliantly observed. We've got Zangief and Bison from Street Fighter 2 there, among others, and there's Satan there, and his he queries the pronunciation of his name. And all this stuff serves to provide really knowing winks to presumably parents in the audience. The kids are not going to have a clue who Pac-Man is, but all these classic video game characters are in there, and it's really, really good. So, Ralph decides to escape his game because he doesn't want to be the baddie all the time, or goes turbo, as they call it, due to this other character called Turbo who escaped. Now, he then goes off on a quest to win a medal so that he can then be adored and considered one of the good guys. Along the way, he runs into a Halo-y Gears of War style arcade shooter, played by a little girl. He is one of the CPU Marines who supports the actual player character, the little girl. She is very bemused at his activity. Crucially, if you leave the confines of your game as a gaming character, you can actually die. So if you're killed in somebody else's game, you're not supposed to be there in the first place, but if you're killed, you can die for good. So Wreck-It Ralph is running around in this game being attacked by these alien-y things going, what's going on? And it's really, really entertaining. Now, as the film progresses, Ralph is just used to smashing things. But later on, he's got to try and make things. So there's quite a poignant and emotional, a fairly emotionally advanced moment there where he's making a candy cut. He ends up in the candy world with Sarah Silverman's little sort of preteen girl character, sort of like Bratz, I suppose, something like that. She's bullied. They all pick on her because she sort of glitches, and there's some bullying going on there. Ultimately, the plot doesn't quite live up to the early expectations. The climax of the film is a kart race featuring Silverman's character in this sort of candy world. But it's perfectly fine, and some of the early scenes are really, really interesting. In terms of the way it looks, CGI, it looks really expensive. It looks great. The voice acting is decent and likeable, particularly John C. Reilly, but Sarah Silverman does a perfectly good job. It does settle down a little bit as it goes on. It is a bit baggy, maybe a little bit too long, but it looks great. There's loads of attention to detail here, which is just fantastic. So yeah, lots of promise, and it mostly delivers on that promise. A little bit disappointing, but that's only because I was enjoying it so much to start with. So Wreck-It Ralph, it's very much recommended kids film in the vein of Shrek, I suppose you could say. Probably not as good as the first Shrek, but not far behind. Very good, very entertaining stuff. And that's the end of my review. Kind regards, Christopher Thomas.